I bought this book a long time ago, mainly because I think I paid it $1 or less, 50 cents. The cover price is $6.95, but honestly, I mean, it's just 96 pages, so it's very small, right? Why did I buy it? Because Jeremy Silman, the international master who wrote one of the most famous chess books, How to Reassess Your Chess, spoke a lot about international master John Grefe. And obviously I couldn't understand much because he was speaking of another historical period, right, in which I didn't play chess. But I was curious about this guy. So I got the book. The book starts explaining what are tactics, then it starts in a few chapters to show some openings and analysis. Here we can see. Let me show it in here. Here it's thinking about tactics in actions, and so on and so forth. The first 2-3 chapters are about kind of opening, and he asks you to do some work about that. Then, of course, the last 2 chapters of the book are exercises. Then, the last, let's say, 4 or 5 chapters are games that are analyzed in detail and show you what happened at tactical level or what didn't happen. Because he says one thing that is interesting. He says, you know guys, the difference between a master and the average club player is that the master knows when to cut the analysis and go somewhere else, or the master analyzes a lot of things that will not happen in the game but that are important to know. So with that said, I would like to show you chapter 5. There is a game. Chapter 5 is entitled A Pawn Sacrifice for the Initiative. The game is Haitian Alexandrov in USSR 1990. And the game starts with d4. I honestly don't have any idea who were Haitian and Alexandrov. I don't know which kind of player they were. Here it says, any opening can lead to position where tactical acumen and the ability to calculate variations determines who will win. The same holds true for any variation within a particular opening. But if you consider yourself a better tactician than your opponent, you would be wise to spend some time thinking about your choice of opening from a tactical point of view. Certain openings and variations are more likely to lead to tactical battles than others. And here it says most grandmasters play either one e4 or one d4. In the majority of our games, one c4 or one knight f3 usually transposes. So he says most grandmaster play this or this move, and c4 or knight f3 they transpose, right? Players, so the one c4 players, he says, almost always prefer quiet maneuvering, and if a game doesn't transpose to a sharp 1d4 opening like the King's Indian or Bangkok Gambit, quiet is what they usually get. In general, one e4 leads to tactical phrase a good deal more than one d4. Honestly, it's not true. Maybe it was true when he wrote this booklet. This booklet was written in 1993. But honestly, today we have seen that the London system, it's very tactical, can be very tactical, and the London system is based on d4. We have also seen that there are very sharp openings, also honestly also c4, because if on c4 black plays e5, we have a reverse Sicilian and the Sicilian generally it's kind of very sharp, right? So it depends. It's not anymore to this thing, oh, E4 it's more tactical. No, especially at high level it doesn't make any difference. Okay, and then he continue, how about playing an opening like 1G4, the Grob attack? This provocative line will get you out of the books faster than you can say Roman Giginciasvili. Okay. Odds are your opponent will react noticeably. He probably laugh in your face if the rules didn't forbid such antisocial behavior. You will get all the tactics you can handle, but if you lose, don't say, I shouldn't have played such a risky opening. There is nothing wrong with a calculated risk, but you must accept the consequences if it doesn't work out. Okay, so d4, knight f6. And again, he has this kind of bias that is not true. He says d5, if black plays d5, black drastically reduces his chances to get into a sharp position, blah 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 blah. Not so true. c4, g6, knight c3, and d5. Okay, so as you can see, this is a Grunfeld defense. We have seen that the Grunfeld in action in one of the most famous games in history, the game of the century. It was Byrne-Fischer, and Fischer was very young and he won in an amazing way. So the Grunfeld defense is can be a very spicy opening, right? And let's see what he says here. The Grunfeld. Few consider it to be an excellent and perfectly sound opening. World champions Kasparov, Fischer and Smyslov have given it their stamp of approval. Deciding if it's an opening you want to play is a simple matter. What's your opinion of White's pawn center? Would you rather attack the king at the cost of a loose position? Or would you prefer to put pressure on the pawn center? If you opted for attacking the king, you should be playing white. Okay. By the way, the black opening with the worst record by far in World Championship play is the Grunfeld. Okay. So after d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, e4, and the knight takes c3. B takes c3, and now it's black to move. So far it looks like the battle of the pawns. Tactics are nowhere to be seen, but those wide open spaces and White's complete pawn domination of the center presage a tactically oriented struggle. The end-to-end fighting of the pieces is about to begin. Bishop g7, knight f3, c5 or e5. I think c5. Okay, sorry, the character is not as clear. Rook b1. Onto the half open file and out of the g7 monster reach. Yeah, so rook b1 is made because this was X-ray attacking the rook on a1, right? Okay, castle and bishop e2. Presumably both players have gotten the type of position they wanted. Now they in this position, because this is theory, knight b6 has been played, knight c6 has been played, bishop g4 has been played. They all have been played in this state-of-the-art setting, but black decides to go pawn grabbing with his queen instead of developing his pieces. This strategy used to be considered suicidal till Fischer with his poison pawn Sicilian revealed the light. Okay, so let's see what he does. C takes d4, c takes d4, and queen a5 check. Obviously the attack that he was talking about is here, right? And yes, it doesn't make much sense, because you understand, yes, he gets 2 pass pawn, but he has 3 pieces that are not playing, so it can be a little dangerous, right? Bishop d2, queen takes a2, and castle. So practically white is like one move from finishing the development. Why do I say that? Because generally we consider the opening over when the rooks are connected, right? Here it says black not only has an extra pawn, he got 2 healthy connected pass pawn, this one, ready to rocket down the board. White can't even think of entering an endgame. Somehow he has to get something going before black catches up in development. This makes sense, right? Obviously you cannot exchange the pieces just for exchanging. You must go very strong and attack here, because if you exchange all the pieces, black will win immediately with 2 connected pawns. Okay, so let's see how it continues, right? After castle, it continued with a5. Propelled by the rook, every advance of his pawn increases its value. Closing on the 8th rank also increasing its chances of being surrounded and swallowed. Rook e1. This might seem like a strangely subdued solution to the problem of a position, but it mobilizes white's last piece and anticipates advancing his center. White's d and e pawns are his trumps. These two. He must use them to smash open the position, drive back the enemy pieces, and even create a pass pawn of his own. Obviously, the fireworks are about to begin. Bishop g4. It seems knight c6 wasn't so bad, because it takes advantage of the tremendous power of a black fianchetto bishop. Okay. And here it gives a little line, right? But black played bishop b4. Let's see. Bishop g5, attacking this. If you are a tactician, this is where the fun begins. Notice that he didn't take here. Huh? Probably there must be a reason. Let's see. Rook takes b7. Bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3. Bishop takes d4. So it takes back. Okay, that's interesting. So that's why he preferred bishop g5. Okay. Bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3. Queen c4. Here it says, by exchanging at f3, black freed the square for his queen. White could have recaptured with g takes f3 without exposing his king to serious danger. So he says that g takes f3 seems it was okay. But this would have completely ruined his pawn structure, and all those inviting weak square in front of his king would draw the enemy pieces like ants at a picnic. Okay, and here it says white bishop, white king bishop, now occupies the magic diagonal and anticipates a bright future. Okay, and we have go to work. No, we are not going to work today. Too much snow. Okay, so let's continue. So what did he play? He played Queen c4, yeah. And now there is d5. Okay, here there are two obviously tactical threats. It's still rook takes b7 or bishop takes e7, and they are real. So black plays queen c7. Now notice the difference again between the two positions. It's clear, no, that white is better, and you say, why white is better? How do you say that white is better? Black has a pawn advantage, right? 2, 4, 6. White has only 5. Yes, but white has the bishop pair, and they are active and attacking. White has all the pieces out. Now tell me, the only piece that can do some damage is this bishop g7 that controls this diagonal, but all the rest are doing nothing. So that's why I tell you, for me, this position is better for white. Now, if you were thinking what to do as white while I was talking, you were doing a good exercise. Otherwise you should pause and start to think, what would you play as white? Obviously, like I told you, this is the only active piece by black. What do you want to do? You want to remove that activity in some way, right? So you play e5 and you say, wow, but e5 doesn't make any sense, right? Because I can take. Yeah, you can take, but like I told you, you need to attack very strong. In some position, he was correct. You must see if you like this Grunfeld, because it's not a joke. You must go in strong. You must not be afraid of giving material for the attack. If that's not your cup of tea, then don't play the Grunfeld, don't play the Grunfeld. Or don't play against the Grunfeld, play something else. Imagine now, what do you think that white played now? Try to tell me, what do you think? White played rook takes b7. Boom. That's incredible, right? Here, of course, he analyzes some other lines, but I'm not interested because I want to see what happens. After queen takes b7, rook takes e5, right? And here it says, in the 50s, the American master Weber Adams published a pamphlet titled White to Play and Win. He contended that white could forcibly attain a big advantage by playing certain attacking lines of a Vienna game. The Vienna game is one e4, e5, and then knight c3, and generally there is a 4 at some point, right? Here I said, black should play the Marshall Gambit in the Ruy Lopez and thus gain the upper hand, he claimed. Whether he really believed this or was seeking notoriety with his outlandish theories isn't known. After all, diverse opinions are the lifeblood of chess. Though Mr. Harris has never pulled them, the majority of grandmasters, but not all, even they can be cranks, would probably agree that chess, given perfect play on both sides, is a draw. And this is honestly seems that someone tried to challenge this idea, because we in fact don't know. Also, a perfect play, maybe white can win. And here he says, the present game offers some interesting variation to support this point splitting viewpoint. And here it shows a line with Instead, when rook e5, he says d6. Okay, let's see instead what happens after rook takes e5. He played queen c7. Wow. Perfect play is rare when both sides are out for blood. In their last match, both the games were fascinating. Kasparov and Karpov fought so bitterly that question marks sometimes outdid exclamations. So now white played rook takes e7, queen d6. Now we have seen that this is an isolated queen pawn, or the isolani of the other grandmaster pawn structures. The queen is definitely not the blocker you want to use, because this is 9 points, right? And you're blocking 1, so it doesn't make much sense. And you say, oh yeah, but behind there is the queen. Yeah, but this queen become active, this bishop is protecting this, so it's 9 against 4 max, so not so good, right? Not so good. Okay, so it's white to move, and here it says rook e1 I played. Rook e1. Wow, very interesting. And here John Grefe, he says, can you calculate the results of this move, rook a7? Because he says maybe there is a way to neutralize those deadly bishops, because you see that they are kind of powerful and dangerous, right? Well, it seems there is. But it looks like this move is really good because it holds the position together. And here he gives some line to prove it, that rook a7 was the move to play. Instead, in the game, black made a mistake. He played f6. So why f6 is a mistake? Because every time you move a pawn, what do? You create weak squares, and in fact, boom, white immediately go on e6, queen d7, and now there is even something stronger, it seems. He played d6. Very interesting. So why black cannot take on e6, you say? Huh? Please tell me why. Because if you take on e6, there is bishop d5, and so you see how bad was to move this pawn. It's terrible. It's terrible. Okay, black played f takes g5. Okay. Obviously, white continue with bishop takes a8. Again, you cannot touch this rook, right? Knight c6, yes, this is a good move because it tries to block that bishop, but unfortunately, again, this is here, and it's kind of unstoppable, it's terrible, right? So, knight takes c6, queen takes c6, and now rook e7, and I think the end is near. a4, d7, rook d8, and now try to find what is the best move for white. I will give it to you as soon as possible, and is this queen a1, right? Very, very terrible move because it's threatened a checkmate here. How do you stop it? I don't know. Let me know if you find a way. Thank you very much for watching. This was a game from the Chess Tactician's Handbook by International Master John Grefe. It's an interesting booklet with a nice game annotated. Obviously, don't pay the full price because it's a very, very old book, right? So I got it maybe for 50 cents, $1, something like that. Thank you very much for watching.